that whole nervousness factor and that the whole jittery feelings, how do you manage those?
Kind of listening to jazz, listening to a lot of like Jay Sean, Rishi Rich. It's such a different field, and if nobody in your kind of circle comes from that space,
Right.
to kind of get into it itself is quite hard. So outside of that, I was always singing around the house since like the age of 6. So I think I enjoy being in the studio the most, and then after that I enjoy shooting the music videos the most. Yeah.
So I guess I've spent a lot of time catching up with you, which
Yes.
is definitely something I've been eager to do. But I guess we'll move a little back, actually way back for our audience.
Okay.
What made you want to become an artist? Like, where did this journey start?
So this journey started in Belgium. So I was born in Antwerp, as you said, and basically I've always been extremely artistic. Like since I can remember, I've pursued art formally. So I paint and I draw and create sculptures as well. And so outside of that, I was always singing around the house since like the age of 6. And I think I did a lot of talent shows within our like community in Belgium and things like that. But I think it really began when I moved to Bombay, and I had the opportunity to create my first album when I was 12. And I remember the kind of thrill just being in the studio gave me. And I think that's where I kind of realized I'm a very, very process-driven person. So for me, like some of like my happiest moments, I think, are in the studio around other artists, because I don't think anything can replicate that. And I think I learned that really early on. So that's kind of what catalyzed the whole.
So if
thing.
you made your first album at the age of 12,
Yeah.
when did you start? Like, because
Yeah, I was quite young. I was I was like 10 and a half.
God,
I was a kid. Yeah, don't look it up on YouTube. Honestly, don't do it. It's really cute, but it's but it's great though. Like I mean, honestly, it's all part of your journey, not just as an artist, as a human. Like it all kind of builds in. It works towards building you to who you are today.
right.
And when you look back and you feel proud of where you are today, it's all upside.
So this was from deep within, right?
Yes, this was from deep
From deep
within.
within.
Yeah.
And in terms of that whole nervousness factor and that the whole jittery feelings, how do you manage those?
So I had a massive support system in my mom. She I think she's been my pillar and my rock since day one. I think she saw she like dreamt dreams for me that I couldn't potentially even see for myself when I was that young. And I think I owe so much of my path in music to her, because I think to pursue something like music is also a very it's such a different field, and if nobody in your kind of circle comes from that space,
Right.
to kind of get into it itself is quite hard. But then to have like someone that believes in you at a young age, I think
Right.
it like really motivates you and pushes you. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but
I think you definitely
Yeah.
did. I mean, at that kind of an age, it's that whole adult support that one needs. Because,
yeah, you're so young. You don't
Yeah.
you don't know anything about yourself. You're just kind of going to school, doing your shit. Like,
Yeah.
But then you have people that support you, and then all of a sudden you just start seeing things in a bigger picture, and your vision is no longer like bound by just this. You're just like, whoa, okay, maybe I can be a singer.
And getting validation, like especially from the person that you would look up to and trust the most, is very reassuring to be able to
100%.
say that, okay, you know what, I can do this.
100%.
Because if they think I can do this, then I can probably
Then
do
I
this.
I might be able to just do it.
Maybe just give it a shot.
Yeah,
and then
exactly. Let's see where
happens,
it goes. Yeah.
So you've done a few albums, singles, you've done over 15 music videos.
Yeah.
Out of these, is there any particular thing that you enjoy the most? Like, which part of the process do you enjoy the most?
So I think I enjoy being in the studio the most, and then after that I enjoy shooting the music videos the most.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I definitely enjoy the glammed up part of it from the music videos, and I love the artistic connect in creating the songs.
And of course, the fan love part of it also.
100%. I think for me, like being in the studio, shooting the videos, and people appreciating the music, I don't think there's anything like it. Like when I get like DMs from a bunch of like people who follow me who say that my songs allow them to express like parts of themselves or their identity, or like express emotions that they're feeling that they weren't able to kind of communicate. That's when I feel the most, I think, just like, yeah, I know why I'm doing this.
So how has, I mean, you also lived in a different continent, right?
Yeah.
Altogether. So the fact that you lived in 2 different continents, how did that impact you as a person?
I think it's been everything, honestly, for me. I think the exposure from having grown up in Belgium and then moving to Bombay, I think what it really did was it kind of shaped this very distinct part of my cultural identity, where, of course, like being Indian and my roots are really, really strong. And I grew up I'm Jain, and I grew up in like a community in Belgium, which was also very, very, very like ingrained in like value systems and like making sure you kind of protect them. But then moving to India, actually, funnily enough, was where I actually got the serious exposure. So it was kind of like a paradox in a way, because in Belgium it was this really beautiful kind of world that we created within our community.
Right.
And I did talent shows, and I had my friends, and it was really like really warm and wholesome. And then moving to India, I felt like I was like a little fish in the big massive ocean, and you're just like, okay, so now this is the world. And you learn to navigate. And I went to an international school. I think for me, like moving to India was in itself, I think, a very, very definitive part of my journey, because I think the exposure that I got from moving to India, I don't think I would have got from anywhere. I think my respect for our culture was always there, but I think it just like tripled when I moved here. I got so deeply invested in history, in all of these things that informed my art, my like art practice, which in turn, in certain ways, also informs my music. So I think it's all just been like kind of like a just like self-discovery of like cultural identity, which I do through my music as well. Like I think fusing like Eastern and Western styles together is something I love to do. It feels very natural to me. I grew up singing and listening to so many like R&B, soul artists, kind of listening to jazz, listening to a lot of like Jay Sean, Rishi Rich from back in the day, like with the urban desi movement in the UK. So just a lot of these like trickle down kind of influences. And then of course Bollywood was like massive as well. So it's just been kind of like an amalgamation of everything. Which is kind of a lot to grapple with, but I think once you kind of set the tone for yourself, it's actually so beautiful, because you understand yourself better through your work.
Fair.
Yeah.
So I mean, you also know like how many different languages do you know?
I speak about 4.
4 different languages.
Yeah,
yes.
Which is yeah.
So you know all this, the way you said, you try to incorporate your knowledge of different cultures into your music.
Yeah.
And do you think that has helped you have a larger kind of audience?
I think so. I think because I think you can end up relating to more people. Maybe not in an extremely deep sense, but in a way where it's like you can almost relate to like a lot of different aspects of different people, which I think is great, because it kind of widens your horizons and it allows more people to kind of understand where you're coming from.
Right. I mean, it also gives a sense of I don't know. I mean, maybe a greater sense of empathy because of the relating to people, right?
Yeah.
Because you're able to, even through your lyrics or through your songs, talk about different subjects and different styles.
100%. Yeah, I think most definitely. I think there are certain topics that are just like, I think universally quite just relatable, which kind of I've sung about in the new catalog of work that I've just done and that I'm like working on right now as well. It's just stuff that like I feel like is just very honest work, and I'm actually so excited to put it out, because it's like a little glimpse into like my like headspace in a way, and that's just really exciting for any artist, I think.
So from what you've told me, the fact that you were at one point, you had a bit of a paradox kind of thing, right? You were kind of in like a shell at one point, but then you kind of opened up a lot more while
100%.
coming back here,
100%.
which is not the traditional way.
No. No.
But a great credit of that and your confidence would probably go to the people around you that support you. Right?
And oh my God, everything. Like I think there's this quote, and it might sound cliche, but I literally live my life by it, which is, you are the sum of your 5 closest people. So, like the way people impact you, the way their behaviors impact you, I think it ends up, it has the ability to actually like change you or mold you. And I think that's why like focusing around and on being around the best kind of energy for you, or even like people that push you, people that can motivate you, people that are more successful, people that are so passionate. I think it changes the way, it like changes the way your wiring works. So your trajectory all of a sudden shifts.
Right.
So it's so much about your surrounding.
Right.
Yeah, and that's something I learned in Bombay actually.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you surround yourself with people that are really thriving and people are doing better than you. So
yeah,
that,
you're motivated, you're inspired all the time, and it's a great state, I think, state to be in, just being inspired.
So apart from your mother, was there anyone close to you or anyone that inspired you?
100%. I mean, honestly, I think I'm very inspired by, I think my family, of course. So within that, like my grandparents, their journeys, they started from nothing and ended up building, and ended up kind of like navigating through and building kind of like lives for us that I couldn't have, I couldn't be more like grateful for what they've done. So, it's the kind of journeys like that that keep inspiring me. Then even like my music teacher from when I was much younger, the hours she put in to kind of not only train me, but kind of like give me perspective. It's more about the conversations, not just always about the practical training, but it's also about everything that surrounds that. And I think that's something that, I really respect. Jay Sean and Rishi Rich's concert was the first ever concert I went to, ever.
The fact that, you've done a lot of different kinds of music and now you're becoming a bigger part of the composition. How do you think your music has changed over the years?
With Why So Blue, I've composed pretty much all of it. And then along with, of course, him as well, both of us work together. Music isn't going anywhere. And these artists who are like all of us, like we are just kind of ready to put our best foot forward.